All right, let's move on to the next thing that's been banned. Let's talk about assault weapons, quote-unquote assault weapons. Firearms that use a bullet button. You must now either register your firearm or alter your firearm. How do we comply with this one? Let's start out first, John Phillips, in terms of the alteration in particular. Is that something that you guys are getting a lot of requests for at your shop?
Well, not after the first of the year. Technically, anything that we do on a current weapon, you'd be working on an assault weapon. See, that's one of the problems we have right now is California was in such a hurry to pass this current assault weapons law that they have allowed you or us, everybody, to have a 1-year registration period. Well, we all know that we can't even do that yet. On top of it, we have a law that is in effect right now, but we're not allowed to register. So technically, all of us with bullet button guns, we're all felons. And it's kind of a slap in the face.
Explain that, because I think that might come as a surprise to some of you. So sorry about this news that's coming out right now. So explain that.
Well, as of January 1st, a bullet buttoned firearm, or an AR that's bullet buttoned, does not meet the definition of a permanently fixed magazine. You can still use a tool, i.e. a bullet, a pen, whatever, to remove the magazine. In order to be in compliance in the state of California, you have to have a permanently affixed magazine, meaning a tool will not readily take that magazine out. Or you have to have a featureless AR, meaning you have to lose the pistol grip, you have to lose your flash hider and put on a muzzle brake. So if you haven't done that and you're just sitting with your normal AR that was compliant from 2000 to 2016, as we sit here today, everyone in this room that has an AR with a bullet button on that was compliant as of December 31st, we're still technically felons. We haven't been given the opportunity to register our firearm yet. The law allows for us to have 1 year to register, but it doesn't negate the fact that there is a law in effect right now. So that's the challenge that we're up against. In order to make your firearm legal, as I said, you need to make it featureless. It needs to be converted in a way that is either featureless or has that permanently locked magazine. You might have saw the slideshow. There are companies out there that are very quickly coming out. You know, it's taken California 15 years to come up with this new way of creating an assault weapons law. It took us 15 minutes as an industry to come up with a solution. And actually the solution, the one you might have saw on the slide, is faster than a normal magazine change. So we'll just let the legislature's heads pop when they figure this out. So you can convert it. The problem is they can't even bring it into us, a normal FFL, to convert it for them until some of these laws get figured out. So we're all kind of in this quagmire of, you know, what's on first, who's on second. You got to understand the law. I would say the best thing to do is either get your rifle featureless, take that pistol grip off, get that muzzle brake. You can do it yourself until such a time that you are able to register. The other option is, you know, we're getting ready to roll out for anybody and everybody. We want to help this industry. This new locking system that some engineers out of Florida came up with, and it's going to permanently lock that magazine in your rifle. But what it's also going to allow you to do is load your gun very, very fast. So there are solutions out there. In the meantime, we get asked this every day, Carl, and they tried to come out with some guidance. They quickly pulled that guidance off because it was ridiculous. And we're all kind of waiting to see where we go from here.
Gotcha. All right, John Dillon, since all of us are felons now, as our lawyer, what are we supposed to do?
All right, so to expand on what John was talking about is, yes, technically, anyone who has a bullet button AR-15, or to expand on that further, any rifle or shotgun that has a magazine lock or bullet button, frankly, is considered an assault weapon under 2017 law starting January 1st. Therefore, people have unregistered assault weapons, and that is illegal. However, the law also allows for this period of time to register. So you don't have to worry, no one's going to kick down your door saying that you have an unregistered assault weapon and you're now a felon and you're going to jail. That may change after December 31st, 2017. But until then, we have some things that can help out, and I know John touched on a lot of this stuff. But basically, just to summarize, quick summary of what is being outlawed in that sense, any semi-automatic centerfire rifle, commonly these are AR-15s, AK-47s, that type of platform rifle, also there's various others, but that do not have a fixed magazine under the current law. The bullet button used to work, that required the removable magazine with the tool. They've changed that definition to where even if it requires removal with the tool, it's still considered a detachable magazine. So if you have one of these guns with the bullet buttons and it has a pistol grip, a thumb hole stock, a folding or telescoping stock, a grenade or flare launcher, I don't know who has grenade launchers in here, but maybe give me a call after this. Flash suppressor or a forward pistol grip. So these are the what commonly people refer to as the evil features of a rifle, and they have an assault weapon. Also, this applies to semi-automatic pistols that do not have a fixed magazine and have any one of these features, which is a threaded barrel, a second hand grip, usually forward vertical hand grip, or a barrel shroud, or the capacity to accept a detachable magazine outside of the pistol grip. I know that's a lot of language, but I'll just give you a great example. AR pistols. This is covering them. They're, unfortunately, you cannot make these featureless because they define barrel shroud. Basically, if you have a handguard on your AR pistol, that is a barrel shroud under the definition of the law and how it's stated. So you'll have to use other forms of compliance if you want those and you don't want to register. If you don't want to register, there are two options. Again, you can use new products that allow for the magazine to be fixed. There's also other products like the AR Maglock and Patriot Mag Release, and various other companies have made different systems that allow for the back pin of your rifle to be taken out to remove the magazine. That's one way. The other way is featureless, where you get rid of these features that are described. The best, easiest way where you're not having to take a gun to a gunsmith is go featureless. You can do it yourself, do it at home, buy the products, ship them to your house, and switch it out. It does have the benefit of allowing you to have a regular magazine release on those rifles. So yeah, it's going to be an issue. The current registration system hasn't even been set up. You cannot register a rifle if you wanted to right now. I don't expect that to be set up anytime soon.
Okay.
Carl, if I may.
Yeah, go, please, jump in.
That, one of the things you got to keep in mind is if you are, a lot of people have asked me if I have a gun that I owned prior to 2014, no one knows I have it, what do I do with it? Do I want to register it or don't? And that's something you're going to have to make the decision. The conspiracy, theorists out there would say absolutely not. But just keep in mind that anything that you registered in 2014 forward, the state knows you have, whether you like it or not. So those are probably the ones you want to focus on. The ones prior, featureless is probably the best way to go for those of you who want to keep your interests private. Something to think about. But that's kind of that we're asked that a lot. What date is it that the government knows what I have? And it's 2014 and forward. So I would focus on those first and foremost. The other ones, one other option is take your AR upper off your lower and keep those in a safe,
Preferably separated.
Yeah, separated, and take them off and keep
We'll
them
talk about
in different
storage,
areas. But that's
soon.
another option for you. So just a little data point there.
Okay, let's talk to Jamie. How are you dealing with this whole registration thing?
How am I dealing with the
Registration as well as the ban. I mean, because I can imagine this is going to affect a lot of folks in competitive shooting.
Yeah, this is going to affect a lot of people in competitive shooting, and again, it's I think a lot of people in competition shooting are just going to play a wait and see game. Most people make sure that they take the steps necessary to make sure they're in strict compliance on their way to the range and on the way home from the range. And but one thing I wanted to point out that the definition of assault weapon and all these features. I remember when the bullet button came out, and that was just meant to be a stopgap measure, until we could get the law changed, and then everybody could go back and put their button back on. And that's the important thing to remember: is the real solution is to become, active in government and politics and get the law changed. All these
We're going to talk about that
Yeah.
soon. I mean, that is the solution.
all these features on the gun that are banned are, most of them actually make the firearm safer, including a detachable magazine, because that's how you clear malfunction. But I don't have an answer for how everybody, by and large, is going to go with compliance when we're competing.
Amanda, on this issue, from, again, local government or just from a political perspective?
From a local government perspective, it's not anything that's within our jurisdiction or purview. From a political perspective, I think it, once again, is the legislature overstepping a subject that it seems to me, and it could just be me, they don't understand. They're not looking at the big picture. They're looking at something that they perceive to be an issue, and they're doing this. And that's a big problem, and we all see it in California, and not just with gun rights, but with other issues as well, is we have a legislature in Sacramento that doesn't understand the issues. They have tunnel vision, and they're not listening.
And to the point, wasn't it De Leon the guy that did a press conference and said something completely, what was it? I can't remember the exact context, but he was dead wrong. And it's like,
I believe it was a 30 caliber magazine clip that can shoot 100 rounds in half a second or
Right.
something along those lines.
yeah. He went to public school math class. Okay. Go ahead, Amanda.
No, so again, as it really is about people getting engaged and trying to educate as best we can the people that we have in Sacramento, and it's about sending the right people to Sacramento. It's about really understanding who they are and where they are in their positions, because we're not going to affect change in California until we come together as a group, as a body, and demand the change in Sacramento. And that's going to come with different electeds up there and educating the ones that we have up there. But as far as this issue, like all of the other gun laws that have been hurled at us in California, you either choose to continue to be a law-abiding citizen, or you're thrust into another category that you have to deal with. And as we know, the criminals in California, they don't care. They're not going to abide by any of this anyways.
All right. Michael, how are you recommending to your members that they deal with this?
Sure, there's a couple. Well, first off, how great would it be to see Amanda Rigby in Sacramento?
Absolutely.
I think it's
And by the way, to that point, I was at the California Republican Party convention this weekend, and although this is a bipartisan issue, I was talking to them, and I offered Amanda's name as someone to start recruiting for state office. There you go. You can blame me, Amanda. Go ahead, Michael.
It's very refreshing to hear an elected official say something that we all are know to be true, but it just doesn't seem like many of the elected officials that we read in the paper understand. There's a couple things I want to make a point on. Everybody's done a fantastic job on the assault weapons expansion, but one thing I'm seeing is every week there is a new product coming out, either to help you, to help replace a bullet button or to go featureless, that sort of thing. So I'm telling people to just hold off. We don't have to register if you choose. You don't have to register till the end of the year. But man, we live in a country where innovation, is our mother's milk. And I got to tell you, there are a lot of really cool products coming out. So don't rush. Wait. There's going to be a lot of options. It looks like to me. So I wanted to bring that up. The other thing I wanted to talk about was that there is a functional, like John said, they're not going to knock on your door. There's not going to be a door-to-door search to see how you're handling your bullet button, that sort of thing. But if you do have a firearm with a bullet button right now, it is considered an assault weapon. You don't have to register it until the end of the year if you choose to register it at all. But where that really does affect you on a day-to-day basis is there are different rules for assault weapons than there are for non-assault weapons. And when I say assault weapons, I'm talking about California's ridiculous definition of what an assault weapon is. So one of those is transporting. So if you have a gun that has a bullet button on it and you're transporting it to and from the range, that sort of thing, remember that you technically have to follow the rules of an assault weapon. And, they say it has to be unlocked and in a secure case. That's the letter of the law. Most attorneys, most experts that I've talked to define a secure case as one that is a hard case. It has hard sides rather than a soft-sided case. Now, there's a little bit of controversy there because that's not what's stated in the law. It doesn't specifically say, hey, it has to be a hard case. But that's what most people are advising is the safest way to comply with transporting your bullet button firearm. So I think that's an important point. I got to tell you, I don't think law enforcement is going to, I don't think, you're not going to, there aren't hard-sided case traps like there are speed traps. So I don't think, CHP is out there looking for you. But it is something, if you want to comply with the letter of the law, it's something you have to do. And so just wanted to bring that up and talk a little bit about it.
All right, let's talk about the regulations.
Without someone doing something about it, it's not going to get any better.